Welcome back to another Tiger Style podcast. I'm Keenan Haggerty. As always, Bo Bayman, Coach Smith, and another special guest, freshman Gage Walker out of Bixby, Oklahoma High School. So welcome, everybody. Bo, what's going on?
Another week closer.
Another week closer.
Schedule's out. Schedule publicized this week. That's always a good thing.
It's official.
That's right.
I know everybody's been waiting. It's official. It's out.
Yep.
Coach Smith.
Season tickets selling. We're almost at them that side, right? We haven't even released it to the public yet, so that's a good thing.
We'll dive into that, but this Friday,
So it's been good.
renewals are over, so
Preseason rolling around and getting after it.
it's been great. So let's get to know our freshman Gage here. Give you a little bio on him. 59th overall ranked wrestler in 2024 by Matt Scout Big Board, and the fourth best at 126th. Fourth best. Come on now. That's BS. Ranked the 90th overall wrestler on Flow Wrestling Big Board and 15th at 126th. Four-time Oklahoma State champion. 2023 Fargo Freestyle and Greco All-American. And Dave Schultz High School Excellence Award winner for Oklahoma. Pretty awesome
So what else
background.
Have you done? No, I'm just saying.
Pretty awesome background. So, yeah, that's impressive. Bo, what? Let's hit him.
Yeah, I guess the first thing is, why don't you give us a little, back history of what you did in high school? We gave all the accolades. How did you become a good wrestler, and where did you train and all that good stuff?
Well, I came from a small town growing up, so I was driving up to where my high school, where I graduated from, about an hour and a half away, Bixby, Broken Arrow, Tulsa, that area, to train pretty much every day. That's kind of how I got there.
Good for you. That's commitment. And why did you pick Tiger Style?
I mean, they're good on top. It's kind of what I did in high school, and obviously a top 10 program for a long time now, and Maple was a big decision with that too.
Yep. And you hate the color orange, which I love.
So how did you get to know Coach Maple?
So there's Coach Maple ran the Grand Lake Wrestling Camp, which was about 10 minutes away from my hometown.
Okay.
So since I was about 7 years old, for the next 5 years, I was in that camp every year.
That's awesome.
Did you ever get a shot at the title?
No.
Well, dive into this summer and getting up here, being in Columbia. How was it? How was camp for you? How was training? Dive into a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was all good. The camp was pretty fun. It wasn't bad to work. I mean, getting to mentor the kids and kind of go through the whole dual tournament with them and kind of coach and ref it a little bit, that was all fun. And then kind of my training, I feel like I just really jumped levels this summer, just working with all the coaches, Dom, Maple, Todd, everybody, just kind of coming in with individuals, not even during set practice times, and just working on things that I need to get better at.
We always ask people this: what's been the biggest difference between high school and then getting here and wrestling in college, even just in the preseason?
So I think my biggest transition so far has kind of been finishing my shots. Kind of once I get in, I've done a really good job of getting in on everybody, but I think the next level I need to take is just kind of finishing on those.
That's not uncommon.
No.
I mean, there are plenty of times that even when we're calling a match, it's like, boy, if he could finish a couple, it'd be in a much better shape, right?
Yeah. At college, they scramble better. They're just good with positioning, and they fight shots a lot harder than in high school. High school, you get to that one set, get to the shot and finish, and then all of a sudden you get in college, and it's tough. It's just more physicality to it, and also the scrambling. It's just you have to know levels of scrambling because they're going to dive for ankles, they're going to pass legs, and all that kind of stuff to make it more difficult.
And let's be honest, that's where video work comes in, too, to know your opponent, right?
Yeah. All that stuff that where you can beat them with and how they're gonna react to a shot and being ready for it.
Love that. I know that you went through boot camp. How was that?
Yeah, that was an experience for sure. I don't know that I'd love to do it every weekender, but it was.
But
fun
once
to do
it was all right.
Yeah, it was fun to do one time just to.
What's something that stands out from that weekend?
Definitely the water treading training. That was definitely my worst part. That one was rough for me. I'm not the best swimmer, so having to put a hoodie on, all that stuff in it.
And take it
wasn't
off
great.
and put it on.
Yeah, I wasn't great at that one.
This episode of Mizzou Storytellers on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast is brought to you by Sophia's and Addison's Restaurants. Sophia's and Addison's Restaurants are great local spots to visit before or after all Mizzou home games. Addison's has 2 locations in Southwest and downtown Columbia and features over 20 beers on tap, including local brewers and, of course, their famous Nachos Bianco. So remember, before or after the game, stop by Addison's.
Coach Smith, as far as training goes and getting freshmen kind of up to speed and ready to go, right away and prepared for college competition, how do you attack that? How do you make sure that they're up to speed with the new rules, riding time on top, and how do you get them there, or do you just go as normal speed with the rest of the team and they catch on?
Well, when they came in the summer, it's with strength training. They're with Rourke, and he really had the freshmen in a separate group. There were some other guys that were in that group, but they focused really on the freshmen, developing their weaknesses and getting them stronger and teaching them technique, which is important for injury reduction. Then when we get in the practice room, it's really, if the best way to do it is have them work out with an older guy. And I bug the older guys that, hey, when we're going through drills and things, take one of the new guys so they can get it and they're learning it and they're doing it right. So that's probably, I don't like to slow down. I think that these guys are talented. They've been wrestling in practice rooms. They have guys that have coached, that are coaching them, that have wrestled at the collegiate level, and they're getting high level. That when they get in, yes, there's going to be a quicker pace of how we're teaching it, but that's where the individuals come in too. That we have a regular practice during the week, almost every day, but then they can have individual time, and Gage mentioned it, that he's been doing individuals, and I've sat and watched him, and he's working on finishes and working on getting better on bottom, and those situations where, heck, I've been doing it in practice, but it's not working. I got to do it more. And that's kind of, even when you're in your junior year and your senior year, you can walk up there, and Keegan was staying after practice this morning working on some small details of beating a guy when he collar ties and, working on it. So it's a never-ending thing. So,
I actually had to shut the lights on him last night, and he was still going. So
yeah, that's right. He's like, huh?
well, I'll just drill in the dark. So
And he'll do it too. That's
did.
the thing. But that's what I mean. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
That's why you have to do it, right?
And you want them to have to figure things out too. If you're just always, I always tell that to guys when they're like, hey, can you show me? Can you show me? Sometimes they just need to get on the mat and get on there and get in situations and figure it out. Because that's what they're going to have to do in a match now. Well, of course, help them technically, but there are times where I always get on the assistants that let them drill on their own some days and play in situations and spar in those situations and figure it out. Because if they're always being told what to do, I don't think that's always the best learning environment. It's a good environment, but it's not always the best at all times.
Engage. I would imagine that there's times when you are drilling and you do something, you're like, oh, hey, that worked.
Yeah, so a lot of my individuals with Maple, he won't tell me what I got to do. Like, maybe I'll be going with Noah or someone, and he'll do something that maybe put me to my back or broke me back down. He'll make me figure it out for the next 5 minutes and figure it out on my own.
How much does Noah make you better?
Oh, I mean, it's helped a lot, especially because he's so good on top, so it's helped me a lot with my bottom. I've started kind of being able to hold my base better because he does a really good job of breaking me back down.
Yeah.
So that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I love that.
well, let's switch gears and focus a little bit on off the mat. What are you studying? What are you kind of wanting to do later on? How are the coursework going?
So I'm a business major right now, but I'm not completely sure what I really want to do after college, or even if I want to for sure stay a business major, so we'll see. But I'm in a lot of mainly gen ed classes right now. I only have one main business class, so the coursework, it's been not bad. It's been pretty good so far.
Is there anything that's been super challenging yet?
No, not really. It's been going really good.
Awesome.
The schedule all good?
Yeah.
Being able to get up and do everything you need to do?
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I don't even have class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is your roommate Jace?
Yeah.
So you and Jace went to high school together.
Yep.
Who's the neatest?
I don't really know. I'm probably.
So that means
we're probably
Jace
both a
is
little
neater than
messy.
you if you don't know.
Maybe.
What would
I
he
don't
say?
know. He would probably say himself.
All right, I got you.
Well, one thing we forgot to do with Aiden, but definitely want to make sure that we allow you any shout outs that you want to give family members,
yeah,
friends. Got to give you some time to give some shout outs.
You
Old
know,
coaches.
Yeah, one guy that's really helped me get. I would not for sure be here without him. Was actually Jace's dad, Shane Roller, and my dad for sure too, because my dad was driving me an hour and a half every single day to practice for 4 or 5 years, and then Shane, just like Maple and all the other coaches here, he had me going through individuals all the time at Bixby. So yeah.
That's awesome. Definitely got to give them a shout
I
out.
think Shane's coming up to do the Missouri High School Coaches
Yes.
Clinic, too.
Yes, he is.
So Coach Roller will be up here. We got him up here.
Towards the end of October. We'll give you a date here in a little bit. But, Gage, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you joining us. We're going to jump over to some other things, but definitely enjoyed having you in here. Look forward to having you on here a lot more, talking about all the success you're having for Tiger Style.
Thanks for
So-
having me.
Thanks, Gage.
Tiger fans, say aloha to Hawaiian Bros, where the island-inspired flavors are positively delicious. You'll love favorites like huli huli chicken, luau pig, and the delectable Dole soft serve. Hawaiian Bros, just south of campus on Grindstone Parkway, or order at hawaiianbros.com.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk about some Hall of Fame, big weekend towards the end of October. Actually, the same day, October 20th, we have the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame and the National Wrestling Hall of Fame for Missouri chapter. 3 Tiger Style greats going in. For the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Ben Askren, 2024 inductee, and then Zach Elam and Coach Don Bradley will be inducted into the Missouri chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Zach Elam, Male Athlete of the Year, and Don Bradley, Person of the Year. Coach, that's got to be pretty awesome for you.
It's really cool. They all 3 of them well deserved. Ben's going into the state of Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, so that's a neat. I think I went into that a couple of years ago.
Yep.
It's a nice event and some really. I think this year it's like Chase Daniels.
Yeah, I
and
think you're right.
There's some really
Really.
big dogs from Mizzou.
You
When
got that
have
right.
Him and Ben together. Those are some 2 of the greatest sport athletes from Mizzou, so that'll be exciting for Mizzou fans overall. But yeah, and then the person and the wrestler of the year. I mean, Zach had an amazing season. Was kind of in the shadows of O'Toole and his
Yeah.
brother and all that, but then just had one of the more consistent seasons and did a great job for us, becoming a 2-time All-American. So I'm really happy for Zach.
He really had a great year, and it was under the radar, too.
Yeah.
Like, he was unbeaten for a long time, racking up wins. He knew he wanted to get to the 100 plateau, got there, and really finished his career strongly.
Yeah, just focused on getting on the mat and competing hard, and it worked out great for him. He was fun to coach, just got better and better. I even told him that I think he was walking off the mat from his last match, and he had, I think, just wrestled who did he wrestle for third and fourth?
Hendrickson?
Hendrick, and I think we lost the match. It was a tough match, but he kept closing the gap on him, and I said, man, you keep getting better. It's too
Yeah.
bad it's over, because
Yeah.
he's up here training all the time. He's working full time, but he comes to the room and still training. He wants to make a run for the next Olympics, and going to start training for all these different competitions coming up, in freestyle. So I'm excited to see him still compete.
As far as Ben Askren goes, he really kind of helped turn things around for you here, and to see it kind of come full circle. We were able to do a nice trophy case for him last year and put down on the concourse of the Hearn Center and celebrate him a little bit. And then he goes into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Like, how wild is that? The conversations you had with him to get him to come down here, change the program,
Yeah.
and now he's in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, the conversations, were constantly. He would even tell me, all these other schools recruiting me are telling me all the reasons not to come to Mizzou, because you've never had a national champ, never had the Olympian, you don't have a good team, all these things. And I was telling them, yep, that's right, but you can change that. You can be a part of that change. And I knew a part of his a big part of his personality is he wants to be the Pied Piper. He wants to be that guy out front leading the, it's just, I look at him and when I was talking with him, his idol was at the time, one of the people he looked to was Muhammad Ali. So I used to send him notes with quotes from Muhammad Ali. And I know that Muhammad Ali was very outspoken, and he was that way. The internet was just coming out, and he was on chat rooms and telling people he was going to pin somebody, how many takedowns he was going to get, Ben, and he wasn't well liked. But I loved it. I loved his confidence because through long conversations, you would learn that this kid is very bright. He's very intelligent, the way he trains, the way he thinks, the way he takes his studies, and he's doing well in school. He was, I think, a 4-time academic All-American here, too. So it's just, I knew that once you got to know him, this kid is special, and if he comes here, he's going to do some great things. And he did.
He was such a tactician, too. I see it more now. But, like, he was one of the first ones I remember that was, like, putting things in the memory bank of, okay, yeah, I can use this later.
Yeah. And he would just force people into positions they weren't comfortable with.
Right.
They may go from he would hit a shot, the guy would counter it, or he would counter it, then the guy would counter him. But he would go to 3 and 4 and 5 moves, and they'd be lost. And a lot of times, and I say this to a lot of our young guys, that don't get discouraged when you give up a first takedown. I said probably the guy that led the program in the most first period giving up takedowns was Ben. Guys would come out and out athleticism him and maybe get a quick takedown, and Ben would just smile and get out. Then the next one he might stop it. Then the next one he's getting to the leg, taking him down, cradle him up and pin him.
Yep.
There was a time his senior year where he had a streak, I think, of 13 straight pins, but not only pins, but I think they were all in the first period, which is like, that's insane.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a guy get 13 pins since maybe like Daniel Lewis, who maybe had 15 or 20 in a season. He had 13 in a row at one point in the season and had 2 years in a row of like 25 pins total. So, I mean, he was just crushing people.
And if he caught you, it was over.
It was over.
I mean, he knew it too. And then he'd get up and do the patented. Ben Askren. Are you not entertained?
He definitely brought the program where people were excited to watch this young man wrestle. And he actually changed the sport of college wrestling. There was funky wrestling and, whatever you want to call it. But he took that style and just kind of made it his own and was so good with it. Won the Hodge, which, for those that don't know, the Hodge Award is the Heisman of wrestling. And he won it twice. He's the only athlete in Missouri to win that type of an award, and he's won it twice. And so you can see that on the second floor with the that's what we have. I just felt like we made that trophy case. We wanted that to be out there, that this is the Heisman in our sport, and we wanted to show it. He gave us one of them.
To give you an idea kind of how dominant he was, and especially in those final 2 years, he was undefeated 87-0 junior and senior season. So 91 falls over his career.
Yeah.
91 falls.
I think
so. I know it's been a while, but
Daniel may be in second, and I think he's like
not even close.
I think he's like at 50.
Yeah.
And everybody that is, recent fans are, Daniel used to pin everybody in a crowd, and he wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Ben almost doubled him. So it's
Bo, to your point about being so tactical in the way you're thinking, like kind of almost computerish, you can see it in the guys he's coached.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been impressive that you can actually pass that knowledge on and teach guys to think that way.
Yeah, it's a mindset. The Askren Academy, and I'm not going to count out Max on that too, because Max and Josh Wagner, the whole crew up there, the kids, the way they get, and very similar. Gage was talking about Coach Maple. We get a lot of those kids that want to come here because they know what's going on in practice, that there's going to be sparring, they're going to be challenged to figure it out sometimes, and they like that in a learning situation, and that's what's going on up there at the academies.
Well, for you, Bo, got to call a lot of those matches for probably Ben, and then also with Coach Don Bradley and Zach Elam. Is that special to you?
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, I can remember Ben changing the program, and instead of a couple hundred diehards coming out, like Coach said, we had thousands of people because they wanted to see him wrestle. and I know Coach likes to start at 125 pounds, but there were lots of times where Ben was the last one because we, just put him at the end.
Yeah.
But that's what he did here. Is he had the casual Missouri fan from around coming to the Hearns because they said, I got to watch him.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was the program changer.
I remember Keith Whitney brought Hap, who has passed, old Coach Hap Whitney, to the Pittsburgh duel, which was the first duel in January after the Southern Scuffle. And we had just upset Minnesota at the Southern Scuffle, and it was the first time in program history we were ranked number 1 in the country. And we walk out of the tunnel, and there's this crowd, and it was amazing. And Ben wrestled the guy from Pitt. It was his senior year. Ben wrestled the guy that he would Gavin, who he would wrestle in the national finals, and goes out and pins him in like the first period, and some crazy scrambles. But Keith told me that when Hap walked into the building, so Hap was the coach in 1960s, and he cried. So it was an emotional moment for him, because just to see, like, wow, look what this has become. And Ben was a big part of that. You need that student athlete that's going to come in and not only just change, the program here. I think other athletes saw Ben on campus and wanted to be around him. I talked with Coach McGuire when I was writing my book. He wrote my foreword, and we were talking about Ben, and he said that was the most the biggest thinker of an athlete, always thinking about the sport, and the most intelligent person he's ever had in his classroom setting, and just always wanting to learn more and picking his brain. So that's Ben.
I mean, when you go back just the last 20 years, there's a couple of them. One is Ben, one is Sophie Cunningham.
Yep.
And I think that Brad Smith and Chase Daniel, that back-to-back duo, changed things around here. Don't you agree?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's been some special athletes, and Carissa.
Yeah,
with running.
Carissa, another one.
She was just, man, I never really had interest in watching her running, but when she ran, I wanted to watch her run because she was awesome. So it's, but that's how an athlete can change
and elevate things.
The average fan will come out and watch it, and that's exciting that we've been able to, for me, I feel like I've been a part of 3 really, really special with a Jaden Cox and Ben, and now a Keegan O'Toole in our program. So program changers.
This episode of Mizzou Storytellers on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast is brought to you by Shelter Insurance. Ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction for auto insurance in the Central Region by J.D. Power 5 out of the last 6 years. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Well, we're going to have to get, you mentioned Jaden, we're going to have to get him on maybe the next podcast or so. Video him in, takes a new job out at the Olympic Training Center. Get to see how he's doing out there, how things are going. But you mentioned fans. We're challenging the fans. We were top 10 this year in attendance. Got to get up there, top 5, top 3. We're challenging the fans. Coach, we need them there.
Yeah. If you want to sit Matt's side, there'll be a few released this next week. I know we're just finishing up the renewals, and we've pretty much sold all of them out, but there will be some that will open up to the public next week. And then just general admission seats. Buying a season ticket is a way that it just shows the support of the program. That get out there, buy a season ticket, and if you can't use it, if you can't make one of the matches, give it to somebody, and give it to your neighbor. Get some new fans to come.
Somebody at the office,
but
right?
It's really important. I think season ticket sales shows the strength of a program, and I think we need to get that where it keeps going up, and every year it has gone up, but we need it to grow even more so we can set attendance, bigger attendance records. And this year we got some special events planned with the Beauty and the Beast, which will be a huge event with men's wrestling and women's gymnastics competing in the same building at the same time, side by sides. It's a fun event that I get driven crazy on by many in the community. When you having that again? Well, we're having it.
And really, as a fan, there's the one in Kansas City. There's the one in Wisconsin. The ones at the Hearns here in Columbia. Plan January. I mean, January's loaded with duels. And then there's one that's a great one in February as well. But, I mean, there are plenty of dates in January you can come on out.
Yep. When it's pretty cold outside, come into the warmth of the Hearns and heat it up some more.
Some Fridays, Wednesday, a couple Sundays.
Yep.
So schedule did get released. Make sure you go online, check that out. Get those tickets. Mat side renewals, if you haven't renewed already, those are due by Friday. So make sure you get that done, and then whatever's left is going to be released, and you can purchase those at that time. There's going to be some overflow section as well, so there's some different options available, but make sure that you're getting your mat side and your season tickets with the schedule. I know a lot of you were waiting that the schedule be released. It's out now.
Yeah.
No excuses. Go get those tickets. Some other things coming up, some important dates. Next Tuesday, Coach Smith, you're headed to St. Louis for Tiger Talk.
Next Tuesday. I didn't know that, so there we go.
October
All right.
1.
Just put it on your schedule. So
Keenan tells me where we're going, and we're going.
That's right.
we're going out to Llewellyn's and Webster
Been
Groves.
been there before.
Yep.
I think you came with me last time we went
I've
there.
been there
so
a few times now.
some great fans out in St. Louis, so excited to get back to St. Louis and see everybody.
Last time it was a dinner. This time is a lunch. So make sure that you plan accordingly. That's on October 1st, next Tuesday. And then a big weekend, October 19th and 20th. Obviously, the Hall of Fame on Sunday. But on October 19th, that's homecoming weekend football against Auburn. I'm not sure that time's been released yet.
I don't think
Steve, is there a time? 11
11.
o'clock?
so. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
it's
it's
an early
early.
one.
We're
11
going to have an
o'clock.
early parade
Yeah,
down Broadway.
early parade.
So we've got homecoming weekend, and then that's our last tailgate.
So we'll have an early breakfast tailgate.
Yeah.
Breakfast tailgate. That doesn't sound bad.
No,
No.
Changing
sounds
it up
really
a little
Love
bit.
those.
Corey does some good breakfast.
So big weekend that weekend, October 19th and 20th.
Yep.
And then the following weekend, October 25th, we kick off wrestling here in the Hearns. We've got our black and gold. That's coupled up with the Missouri Wrestling Coaches Clinic. So we're trying to do something to work with them, make times work out so that they can catch the black and gold. But that's on Friday. Originally was scheduled for Saturday. We've moved it to Friday. So make sure you save that date, October 25th, for the black and gold. So, and then it's season time.
Yeah.
Season.
Then it's go time.
It is. It's here.
I guess last thing I want to ask you, since we're about a month away, how's it going in the room?
It's going good. I mean, they're still lifting. They're still doing some bike workouts, some hill workouts, a lot of technique. Like on Tuesday, Thursday mornings, we have an hour drill, and it's just 3 stations. They go about 20 minutes at each one, working top, working bottom, working on their feet, and it's going well. They're starting to get
Antsy?
because fundamentals are never fun to work on, but they're important, and they
Yeah.
know that. But you can tell it. We've been going for about 3 weeks now. That it's like, all right, when do we get to just? And that starts in October with normal practices. But it's going well. I really like the attitude of the team. They work hard. We're doing our mental Mondays every Monday, and this week we were discussing and did some things to work on mental toughness and the importance of it. I tried to break a few of them yesterday in practice and get them to snap and yell at me or whatever with bad calls and this and that, and trying to keep composure, and that's part of training for mental toughness. So we did some other things in the weight room to get them to get mentally tough, but it's just training them to think about it and how you can get through it and developing habits that are going to serve you and not hurt you, that you develop that toughness. So
And who's helping you do it? In your foxhole. Who's
Yeah.
helping you in your
Yep.
foxhole?
Who's hanging out with you? Who are your people? So it's been going. It's a fun group to coach.
Good.
They've been busting their butts. It's been exciting to watch on the side too. So I'm just as excited to see them get out there and compete on the mat. So, Bo, anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Coach Smith?
All good. Let's
All
go.
good. So we'll catch you guys back here next time. And as always, Tiger Style, stay ready.